We had a little bit of a stumble in our first ever episode, where in which our podcast tech guy, quote unquote, decided to utterly deceive me into the nature of how recording audio works, and has chose to point the blame at me, despite the fact that doesn't make any fucking sense. So throughout this episode, I was only recorded through Craigbot on Discord, and that's why my audio might sound a little different than normal if it sounds bad at all. Hopefully in future episodes it will sound a little bit better. Okay, we're in. All right, so this is gonna be the first episode of, I think we'll go with Content Crusaders. Hopefully this time a short podcast where we go over content that Bryce and Kris here, two of my fellow comrades, have not seen, but I'm gonna put a caveat on this episode that I think they both, either one or both, probably have actually seen what we're going to cover today, but I'm sure they don't remember it.
Is this my first Disney movie?
So we're just gonna go over it. There's gonna be a few random segments involving mostly Bryce, sometimes Kris. Kris here is important. He's gonna be doing our final review at the end of the episode based on nothing more than what I covered today.
Yes, that is the point. I'm just gonna review, he's telling me the story. I'm taking it completely in trust that he is telling it exactly as it's supposed to be told, and then I'll review it honestly.
Okay, yeah, and then we got Bryce here, who is mostly gonna listen, but he's our big smarty guy in this group. So he's gonna be taking a quiz at some point, as well as giving us invaluable insight at regular intervals. So
yes, as always.
If that's all clear, I'm ready to go ahead and start streaming what we're going to be talking about today. There's your stream, gentlemen.
Okay.
Digimon the movie.
Bro, I'm pretty sure I've actually seen this like 85 times.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was gonna say one or both have probably seen this before.
Looking at this, like, I like how Ty looks kind of normal, but everyone else's face is oddly tilted. Like, look at the girl under
the
Ty.
girl on the right and the fucking middle. There's something wrong with her.
My goodness.
Sora looks actually terrible, but good, because she sucks. We'll really get into that in this movie.
Okay.
She is not awesome.
Yeah. Dude, I know all about this shit, dude. I think I could teach this.
Okay. So, this is what we're going to be going over today. So, the big thing about this movie is that this movie is actually a combination of three different like short film OVAs in Japanese. One was called Digimon Adventure, which is literally just the name of the regular show, and it was an alternate beginning to the show. We're going to be talking about that on the slide that says the incredibly confusing start of the film. Then we're going to be covering the second part called War Game on the slides, the build up to Y2K and Y2K, because it's about Y2K. In the Japanese version, it's explicitly stated that it's in reference to Y2K. In the American version, it's a little less clear than that. But it is obviously related. And
Rotten
then
Christophers.
That is not even how you spell my name.
I like when Kris jokes like that. Okay, so and then in the part titled "The Rest of the Movie," we'll talk about the other part of the movie. So, that's pretty much the reason I picked this one is because it's short, but it actually has a lot to talk about, unfortunately. So this might not be as short as I wanted to. This was actually made by Saban, where he was like one of the people responsible for it. He's the guy who makes like Power Rangers, Masked Rider, which is the American localization of Kamen Rider, which is weird as hell, and many other things for kids kind of like this. I think he was kind of responsible for some of the Pokemon movies, but I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. And this movie, by the way, there's 3 separate time periods in the characters' lives that this covers, because it covers 3 movies from 3 separate time periods that are not related at all and makes them related. So we're going to start with Ty and Kari as children. Then we're going to move on to them as like the age they are right after the show ends, like the original show. And then we're going to move on to when the characters from the second show are the main characters and they're all a little bit older. This is when we get even further into the fact that Sora sucks. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting about this is that these guys are on the cover on the sides here. You never even see Mimi, Joe, and Izzy, I'm pretty sure, at this age in the movie at all.
I was about to say, like, the chick in the bottom left, I have no idea who the fuck that is.
Can you do a little bit of a roll call? Because I know Ty.
Okay, so
I know the Buckethead kid.
Yeah, so Buckethead kid is TK, and this is his lover right here. From like the age of like 6 to adulthood.
She got some right angles on those elbows, man.
Yeah, she does. Even though right angle is straight up and straight to the left, Chris. Yeah. Then you got Davis. This is Davis. Davis is an interesting guy. We'll talk about that too. This is Yo Lee. This character is annoying as hell. She also wears not this outfit at all in the movie ever. So it's weird.
Bro, isn't she wearing like the hat though?
Well, she wears a different hat in this movie. Yeah.
Okay. And
then this is Willis, the smartest kid ever in existence. Other than
I don't remember.
Willis is only from this movie. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then you got Cody right here.
That guy looks so bad.
This is Cody. And then by the way, last night one of my friends was calling this chick Kyrie every time.
Dude, I mean, I was thinking like we already have Sora. I was thinking this is maybe like the predecessor to Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Ty kind of could look like Sora.
Yeah,
just a little bit actually, even though his name's Ty. But yeah, we're getting there. So this is Ty. This is Matt. Matt decided to look a lot shittier as a teenager, or like an older teenager. This is Joe and Mimi. Okay, Mimi's the one. Joe is the guy with the glasses in the original show. Mimi is the one who wears like the sun hat thing. And Sora's the one who wears the beanie. We'll talk about why she's wearing not that in this, because it's set up for like her liking Ty that they later discard and make her fuck Matt and have his kids instead because Matt looks cooler. That's basically what she says. That is. And then we got Izzy, and that's Izzy. So all right,
explanation on everyone. It says in this guy right here. Yeah, that's just Izzy.
All right. So
it's just Izzy.
Also, let's talk a little bit about the Digimon we've got going on down here. So, this is
the best part.
This is an interesting.
Dude, I'm looking at the guy the Digimon right in the middle. His little smirk there. He looks like he's about to like steal a baby or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's up with that because I kind of think that this Digimon and this Digimon are
the same thing.
That's what I thought.
Thing. This is Terriermon. I'm pretty certain this is Terriermon. We'll talk about this later, and then this is Armadillomon. They got real creative with this one, and then we have Vmon because he's got a V on his head, and as I'm sure you guessed, this is Hawkmon. So,
okay.
What about the one in the background? Is that like Big Imon?
That is Cocomon.
Cocomon. Okay.
Which by the way is also what I think this is right here.
I was about to say, yeah, dude, that's my favorite.
I believe this is also Cocomon, even though that's not this thing's name at all. That's just what they call it because they can, I guess. Cocomon is what they refer to the main villain, quote unquote, of the movie. The whole time, even though he's not Cocomon anymore, like for most of the movie. But Cocomon is what it's called in its base form. So we're just gonna call the villain Cocomon the whole movie. All right, so let's get into it. So why did this movie even come out? So this movie came out in 1998. towards the end of the year, I believe. And this movie would come out about a year and a half later ish, give or take. This movie made a lot of fucking money. Mewtwo vs. Mew was an extremely successful movie. So they just were like, yo, let's do that too. But instead of making like, you know, a plot of a coherent movie, they decided to take a slightly different approach, like I said earlier, and piece together 3 pieces of medium that are not related to each other at all, and basically force them to be related so that they can make one movie. So yeah, there you go. There's that.
So like when did the shows come out?
Oh, that's a good question. I actually am not completely certain, but my guess would be probably in like 99, 98, probably around the time this movie came out. This movie did not do as well as the Pokemon movie, I'm sure you could imagine.
That's fucked up,
it did come out in 99. And so but this movie is certainly a lot more interesting than this Pokemon movie, which is not good either, but maybe we'll talk about that someday. And let's talk about the Digimon, the movie soundtrack, which includes
this shit goes hard.
Hits like Run Around by Jason Radford, All Star by Smash Mouth, Kids in America, which is, by the way, a remix. It is not the original version.
Yeah, Len is not who made that song.
Nowhere Near by Summer Camp. The Impression I Get by the Mighty Mighty Bosstones. All My Friends Are Metalheads by Less Than Jake.
I'm sure Izzy is a metalhead.
The Rockefeller Skank by Fatboy Slim.
What the fuck?
And
what? Oh, what? Wait. The Rockefeller Skank
by Fatboy Slim
in my kids movie. Hell
and then we also have the Digirap, the Digimon theme, the Change into Power, and Hey Digimon, all by Paul Gordon.
Oh man.
I believe actually that Let's Kick It Up is also by Paul Gordon.
And Paul Gordon really put in the work. You gotta respect him for it.
Yeah, you can't.
I'm sure that the Digirap is 100 times better than like the Pokey Rap.
I mean, that's
why we remember it.
That's an opinion you could make. Yeah.
Hey, that is not an opinion. That is facts.
Okay, that is fact.
That's fair. But yeah, I'll briefly discuss in particular when 2 of these songs play, because it's a ridiculous scene, because it is truly the part when All My Best Friends Are Metalheads plays is also pretty funny, but it's not nearly as important. But the movie, by the way, opens with the Digirap, and then we get into the start of the film. So, man, the way this movie starts is actually fucking crazy. It is really not very coherent. So they're just like at their house, and Kari's our narrator in the movie, Ty's younger sister. This girl, just to make sure we're on the same page here. And their kids, she might be 4, maybe younger. She's very young. And she's like, it all happened one day where we all got our Digimon. And for some reason, she takes the time to mention, oh yeah, and this loser from the US, Willis, who has no friends at all of any kind, he gets one too. And in fact, he gets 2 Digimon. And he has no friends, and he's from America. They really stress that he's from America and that he has no friends. And then after that, we're going to leave Willis out of the movie for the next 15 to 20 minutes. So then we're going to talk about what happens here. So they look at their computer, and an egg comes out, and it's just this little black thing. And it doesn't do anything. Oh, also, let me mention, he does have 2 Digimon at the start of the movie, which doesn't make sense. Well, I'll talk about that. But so she and Ty are just chilling. And so this Digimon freaks them out. Ty is like, what's going on, Kari? And he falls out of his bed. That happens like 4 times in the scene where he falls out of his bed. And the Digimon's like, ah! And just like runs under their bed. And Kari's like, oh no, let me. let me go under the bed and see what's going on. So she goes under the bed and she starts whistling the Digimon jingle to it that she just knows. You know, this is the first time a Digimon's ever existed. And the Digimon starts spitting bubbles back at her at the same like rhythm. So they're like basically yelling the theme at each other underneath the bed. And Ty comes over and he's like, yo, stop. So he just like starts like flinging them all over the place. And he's like, yeah, quit it. And then he gets a phone call for seemingly no reason. And it is Sora, this character right here. So she calls him and she says, Ty, Mimi told me you were the one who threw up in my hat the other day. And Ty grabs the phone, hears this, and just hangs up and then walks back into the other room again. And they act that conversation.
Says I did it.
Just didn't happen. Okay.
That means he did it. He had to have done it.
Was this during like the middle of the night too?
Yeah, it's like late at night.
Okay. Mimi be talking around at all hours of the night.
Yeah, I guess she had just told Sora that Ty threw up in her hat. And then after this happens, he goes back into the room. Now, the little black Digimon is now Koromon, this big pink ball thing with long wiggly ears. That'll turn into Agumon shortly here. But they're all just kind of chilling. And then Kari says something very confusing. By the way, this would eventually turn into the Agumon, but not the one that we know, which is weird. Because they're implying that this is a different Agumon, but later on in the show, Agumon literally says he was the Digimon that they met that day. Very confusing. But let's move on. And so they're all just kind of in their room messing around, and Kari starts feeding all of Ty's food to Koromon, which really upsets Ty. And then Koromon shits on the floor. Ty's like, oh my God, he shit on the floor. And then Kari's just like screaming, like he's just like running around. She's like, no, don't hurt him. And he's like, he's not sleeping in my room. He's sleeping somewhere else. And then she's like, well, he can't sleep on my bed. And by the way, this whole time, she's not actually talking. She's just whistling at him with a whistle. What? And Ty just knows everything she's saying.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, how do we know?
I'm paraphrasing here because I literally have no idea what she's saying. But Ty's responses seem to indicate what she's probably saying. I'm doing a lot of inferencing here. Now, in a little bit here, there's a part where he like says, or he like breaks through the wall, like he literally bursts through it, just blows their wall down of their house, and he turns into an Agumon, but he's humongous. He's like the size of like their like room, top to bottom. And he just breaks out, and Kari is on his back, and he is just running around all over the place. He sees a plane, and then he looks up at the plane and he like ducks down and starts like stalking the plane, like so he's like running after it with Kari still on his back, and she still has the whistle in her mouth and is just whistling a lot for no reason. Then all the other Digi Destined, this is what they refer to the main characters as. In this case, this is these 6 plus TK for some reason, because TK is a member of the original Digi Destined as well. And she is too, but not at this point because she's like already on Agumon's back. So she doesn't like wake up and come outside. So they all come outside and they wake up, and they're all apparently able to see what's going on, despite the fact that Agumon and Kari are across the city almost. Like they are very far away and they can just see everything that's happening.
I mean, it's kind of just
all
like
of it.
It's like their DigiSense, bro.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be why. That's gonna have to be why they can do that. So what's gonna happen in the next scene is pretty crazy. So they meet this giant Digimon named Parrotmon. It's a giant parrot. When they get up to it, Agumon's like, and he's like, by the way, he said he was Agumon, and by the way, Ty somehow got over there during this period of time. Don't ask how, he just is there. When Ty gets over there, he walks up to Greymon because he turns into Greymon at this point because he's about to fight the Parrotmon, and Greymon's like, I'm Greymon, and Ty literally looks like extremely nervous, and he says, you could be whoever you want to be, man. And then he like tries to like leave. And Greymon's like, and he starts fighting Parrotmon. So they're like just fighting. And like I said, all the kids can see this from miles away and are just like commenting on it the whole time. And at some point, you say, by the way, the fact that they know each other so well, like it seems like the kids have known each other for a long time. That is not the vibe you get when you start watching the show, whatever. They get to a point where Parrotmon yeets Greymon and he like flies across the ground and gets bopped. And it literally looks like he just dies instantly.
I think you need to talk about just how fucking huge Parrotmon is.
It was so Parrotmon is fucking giant.
When I do think of something small.
You were like, Agumon is like the size of like the height of their room, but my guy Parrotmon.
They are the size of like apartment buildings. Very easy.
Oh god.
Much bigger, like a Japanese apartment buildings. We're talking like the average Japanese apartment building is much bigger in like big cities, and that's like what we're talking about in this case. So he's huge. They're both huge, and Parrotmon completely fucks up Greymon. He's on the ground, he looks like he's literally dead here. And then one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie happens where Kari is sitting there and she's just whistling really hard because she wants Greymon to get up, and he like can't do it. And then there's this part where she's whistling and she can't like blow anymore, and so she like the whistle falls out of her mouth and she starts just like spitting up saliva, and she's like and she's just spitting saliva
so
all over the ground, even though like we're no, it's not hard to whistle for a long time. That's all I'm saying. And then she's now like not able to do anything to whistle anymore. So Ty takes the whistle and Sora yells, "You can do it, Ty," even though she shouldn't be able to see him. And he whistles so loud, extremely loudly. And then Greymon's like, "Ah!" And then he gets up and he yeets Parrotmon, like just destroys him.
I bet.
And
what if it was like the whole time Greymon, Agumon, the reason they were getting angry and bigger is because the whistle was hurting their ears. Like, what if it wasn't like an emotional thing and he like just got shock woked up and was like, I ate that whistle?
That would likely make more sense, to be totally honest with you. But yeah, so that's an extremely rough overview of the first 15 minutes of this movie. It is really confusing. There are a ton. This movie has jokes coming miles an hour, and most of them are pretty stupid, but that's what we're working with. Okay, so then it just says 4 years later, and then we move on to the Y2K section of the movie. Real quickly, though, before we did that, we should have y'all won't know that this is the case because we might edit this part out, but yeah, there's supposed to be a soundboard I have. We don't have the soundboard, so I'm not going to play a sound, but we're going to do the part right now where Bryce is supposed to be like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, Bryce, say something. So this is going to be called Bryce Chimes In. Bryce, what do you got to say?
This is my favorite movie ever.
All right.
God, oh, shit.
Thank you, Bryce, for that one.
That was,
all right.
Lightning.
Yeah. Okay.
Holy shit.
Wait, so we're literally that was literally the end. Did we just go 4 years in the future?
Yeah, just literally it's like in a few seconds. It's just like 4 years later, and then okay, here we are, Y2K. So it is the year 2000 in the movie and when this movie came out. So it is part of the movie, though. So now we have, I call it the build up. It's just the problem hasn't started yet. So there's a sound I really want to play for you guys that I don't have because unfortunately, but we'll talk about that.
Can you make the sound yourself? I think you can recreate it.
I'll try. So
Nolan, are you talking about the one that you showed me?
yeah.
You can just go to your Discord and play it from there.
Can I do that? How do I do that?
Yeah, you can do that.
How?
Go to Discord.
Yeah, I think you got to come here.
Okay, I'm coming.
So I'm gonna send something to y'all. And I want y'all to go ahead and that's not what I thought that was gonna do.
Here, hold on, just hit the plus. Okay, upload a file. And go to your downloads. Scroll down. Not even that one.
Okay. I'm gonna send a file in the chat right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be what I'm talking about. So before we even get to what actually is going on in the scene, I want y'all to just hear this because I think this is really cool.
Yeah, that's what it says. That must be really good chocolate. Paper or plastic?
So this sound right here is what happens,
dude.
Okay, wait, let me hear this again.
So I don't know why. So they're in like this grocery store, and because this monster, this Digimon virus monster, goes and like makes it so everything in this grocery store costs 1 million yen each, and he sees that, and he's like,
wait. You just like started out straight up. You're like the virus monster, like
yeah. So we're gonna get to. Well, I know. I'm purposely getting to that later. We're gonna get to him. I promise.
Okay.
The virus monster eventually just like does this, and it makes that sound, and we all heard that, and we're like, what the fuck? Excuse me? It's an extremely alarming noise he makes.
Okay.
For whatever reason.
So I have like a mini story.
Yeah.
So I said I've seen this movie 80 something times. I had this movie on VHS, and I watched this shit so many times with my sister, and that specific part, we would literally like rewind it multiple times over and over again to listen to that exact same scene because we fucking like lost our shit every time we heard it because it was so goddamn funny.
The paper
no, what? Like, paper or plastic, and then he goes and then like drops his fucking coins. It's just so fucking funny, man.
Must be some good chocolate.
yeah. That shit is all time funny, man.
All right. So let's get to what's going on here. So we cut to Izzy and Ty hanging out at Ty's house. Ty's here because he lives here. Izzy's here because he wants to fuck Ty's mom. Now, Sora. So Sora calls Ty, or he calls Sora, and Sora's like he implies, what's a guy got to do to just apologize? What he's apologizing for, man, that's a trip. Okay, so Sora, eventually they're gonna discover this monster that they have to stop. There's a little side plot going on here where Ty's mom is talking about how Ty won't eat her cooking, and Izzy's like, well, I love your cooking, Ty's mom. By the way, is Ty's dad here? Can I come back behind the kitchen? And then Ty's mom is like, thanks, Izzy. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you like my cooking. Here's a beef jerky shake. Now,
what? Ew. Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah. And so, the beef jerky shake is actually pretty important here. So,
what?
Eventually, after they discover that there's something wrong with all the electronics, they find out somehow that there is that they can like get into the computer and fight this thing, but they realize that they're going to need some backup. So instead of just sending an Agumon and Tentamon, which is their Digimon, they decided that they want to get someone to help it all. So they call everyone from Joe, who's in the middle of like an SAT type exam. Mimi is on vacation, and there's like this whole part where they cut to her. She's like, I don't have a care in the world. And so, yeah, thanks, Mimi. They call Matt and TK, and the conversation goes something like this. He says, hey, can I talk to Matt? And she's like, His grandma answers. And she seems like she has dementia or something, because she's literally says like, "Oh, I like talking to my grandsons too." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, but can I talk to them?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'll let them know." And then she just hangs up. And then
Nice.
he calls Sora, and Sora's mom answers, and she's like, "It's Ty," and she's like, "I don't want to talk to him. Tell him I'm not here." And she's like, "Well, I already told him you're here." And she's like, "I don't care. Make up something else." And Ty can literally hear her saying this, and Ty's like, "Ah," and like hangs up.
Oh God.
And then so then he calls his sister, and his sister is at a birthday party. Now this part is the most confusing one, because she says to Ty, "I'm sorry, I can't come. There's a magician on his way to the party, and I volunteered an hour ago to get sawed in half." So evidently, global crisis is less important than getting sawed in half at her friend's birthday party.
Why
Also,
whatever, you know?
in this scene, whenever Ty calls her, her friend is about to blow out her birthday candles, and she has like her mouth extremely wide open, and she doesn't close her mouth to blow them out until Ty's done on the phone with his sister. So in the background, you could just see her with her mouth hanging open the whole scene.
She's just being respectful, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's waiting.
Okay, so now we're gonna get to the part where they.
Whoa, you wrote a lot here.
Yeah. So look at this one.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I wasn't really looking to really sort this very well at all. So okay, so at this point, they're gonna start going in to like actually stop Diaboromon. They're inside the computer. Kabuterimon, which is the champion form, the third form of Izzy's Digimon, and then Greymon, go in there to fight this thing. This thing that they're fighting is this big spider-looking guy who is supposed to be like a computer virus thing, and he has a couple attacks that are really funny because he says them like this. Give me a moment. Spider shooter, and he'll like shoot a cable, and he calls it Cable Crusher. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. And what's funny is there's the villain in the last part of the movie, Kokomon, has the literal same fucking attacks. What? And even though they don't even do the same thing, it's dead ass. So yeah. Then you have Izzy is basically saying to Ty, "Oh no, he has sent a message to every human on Earth, and it's calling everyone on the planet." So Diaboromon evidently is able to hack into the phone companies of every person on the planet at once and give every single one of them a phone call simultaneously. And because of that, everyone on Earth's phones at the same time are all busy. And that's going to stay like this for almost the whole part. Because of this, they have to find some like cheese way to leave like voice messages back and forth between them and TK and Matt, so that Matt and TK can come help them. So at this point, they're trying to like call them, and they literally can't. So Izzy does exactly what you would think someone would do at his age. He gets a satellite uplink and hacks into the military satellite. And Sora, by the way, while this is happening, so Izzy is now hacked into a government satellite essentially, and is using that to monitor where Diaboromon is throughout the movie. For whatever reason, while this is happening, Sora comes over to apologize to Ty. She gets to the door and she's like, fuck Ty, and just leaves. Okay.
She walks up the door and then she goes,
Stupid Ty.
and then she
just
fucking
leaves,
runs.
walks off. Yeah.
What the hell?
And so now our dynamic duo, Izzy and Ty, are in a rough way. However, while this is happening, Izzy is talking to Ty's mom again, but this time he's like, Ty is like, dude, I can't believe you're drinking that shake, man. And he's like, just because you don't want to be healthy, Ty, doesn't mean I don't want to be. He's
It's
like,
a
whatever,
beef
man. You're gonna
jerky
regret it later. You're gonna regret it later. Might be. But yeah, so then this whole time, like Ty's mom is like clearly like happy as he likes her stuff, you know. And then Ty gets like, actually, this doesn't happen yet, but they make contact with the brothers. Now, what they do to do this is they think to leave a voicemail. You would have thought that this would have been an idea they had earlier, but they're leaving voicemails so fast back and forth that it's like they're on a call with each other. This is happening so quickly. And then Matt and TK are like, we have to go. So it cuts to them on a motorcycle with some guy that's like literally never shown. Like, it doesn't show them like get on the bike with this dude, and he drives them to a place with a computer because, as Matt says, the closest thing to a computer our grandma has is an egg timer.
Okay. So does that, okay. Can you show me TK and Matt again? Because I'm imagining TK Breezy.
So this is TK.
Okay.
This is Matt. By the way, Matt, both of them do not look like this in this part of the movie.
Yeah, and Matt is TK's older brother.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So yeah. Now, okay. They're inside the thing. And by the way, Izzy is illustrated drinking 2 more beef jerky shakes and 1 gulp each. Everyone on Earth is now on their computers watching them fight this Digimon. This is Ty and Matt, mostly, because Patamon and Tentamon, Izzy and TK's Digimon are like shot out of the computers. Now, in this scene, while they're having this big fight, Ty is outside the computer and Izzy has to go take a shit because he drank so many beef jerky steaks so fast. So Ty is like, oh no, what am I going to do? I need to do this thing on the computer. So he touches the side of the computer barely, and the computer blue screens. Now, Izzy comes back out and he sees that he did that. And Izzy walks over and he like slaps Ty in the face, and Ty like flies across the room slightly. And he's like, what did you do, man? And he's like, it was an accident. He's like, yeah, I bet it's an accident that Sora's mad at you. He's like, bro, I didn't even do anything. What do you mean, Izzy? And Izzy's like, well, yeah, sure, Ty, whatever. And so now everyone hates Ty because Sora sucks. So
have you talked about why Sora is mad at him?
That's really important. We're gonna get to that. Okay, so now man, the people on the computer. So Matt, by the way, and TK are like, bro, Tygo, because his computer's fucked up. And so during this whole scene, Greymon and Garurumon, who are actually in their mega forms, which is Metal Garurumon and War Greymon, are unable to do like anything. And so for some reason, by the way, since all the people on Earth are watching this, they all just know who like Matt, Ty, Garurumon, and Greymon are. But they know who they are for some reason. And there's this part where Izzy's like, gets back into the computer and he's like, oh no, he's multiplying. And there's this 10-minute timer that comes up and he's like, and what's worse, the US appears to have launched 2 nuclear missiles at our country. So the way this scene is structured, it's like, he's like, oh no, he's multiplying in number. And then immediately after, he's like, oh, there's also 2 nuclear missiles coming at our country. Just gonna throw that in there. And you know who tells him this? He gets an email from Willis. And so Willis says, because he was inside the Pentagon's database, he knew that this was happening. And they don't question that at all. They're like, yeah, this child, I'm sure, is correct. Which he was.
I mean, actually. he has no friends. So
yeah,
of course that's what he's doing.
Yeah. So now there's 2 nuclear missiles flying at their country from the United States. Now, they start to receive emails from the children so fast that it's messing up the processing speed of Izzy's computer. So because it's fucking up the processing speed, they literally like can't. The Digimon, Greymon, and Wagurumon in particular are moving so slow that they can't even like hit Diaboromon. And eventually what this leads to is Ty's like, no, we can't beat them. And like, then they have this part where like Gurumon and Greymon are like fighting Diaboromon. There's like literally hundreds of him, maybe even thousands.
No, there's like
and
fucking
like,
millions of that bitch.
Yeah.
I tell you.
And then he's like, don't interfere, don't interfere, don't. And he just starts saying don't and interfere in like random orders. And then there's literally this part where Kari, who is the narrator still in this whole part, says,
I don't know how to explain it, but Ty just entered the computer.
and they make like this big deal about how Ty entered the computer, and he's just suddenly there with Greymon. And also what's crazy about this scene is when he gets there, Matt's already been in there, and they don't even address that Matt did it too. He just did do it too. And then Ty's mom walks in after Greymon, after Ty has gone in the computer, and she says, what are you doing, Izzy? And then Izzy's like, I'm trying to upload something to the server mainframe. And she's like, well, I'm going to give you some personal time. And then goes to close the door. And Izzy now has just like another shake and drinks it. And then Ty, they're inside the thing. Ty and Matt are fighting this monster, and they start getting all these emails. They're like, go, Ty, go. Go, Ty, go. And then
that's going to be fucking them up. The processing speed.
Yeah, the processing speed. So Izzy comes up with this genius plan. Okay, he's like, yo, I got it. And after the messages make it so that the Greymon and Garurumon, who are incapacitated right now, which actually Ty says something kind of clever here. He says, I don't have a whistle to wake you up this time, Greymon, which is, by the way, his way of calling back to the earlier scene where he made a whistle sound that the whole city could hear, which woke up Greymon and made him go insane. And then Izzy's like, has stomach issues again during this whole part, but he's like, I can do it. I'll stay here. And then they fuse into this Digimon called Omnimon, which is when Garurumon and Greymon fuse together, and they like literally Garurumon and Greymon are just these giant cannons. Or no, Greymon's a sword on one arm and Garurumon's a cannon on the other, and it looks pretty sick, bro. But that's neither here nor there. So they kill all but one of the Diaboromon clones, but they can't find the last one. And he's like, "What are we gonna do? He's too fast to hit." And then Ty's like, I don't know, but we need to do it. We have like 5 seconds left before the nuke impacts Japan. So,
well, you've already lost at that point.
Yeah. So, okay. So what happens?
That's what you think.
This shit's wild. Okay. So Izzy says, I've got it. We can forward the emails to Diaboromon, and then he'll slow down just like we did.
Holy shit, that's ingenious.
That's
really
genius,
is.
bro. So there's this whole scene where they're like, because they're about to all die. And then like the last 0.1 seconds, they stop it. And then it cuts to this scene where Diaboromon's dying. Okay, he's dead now. And the timer is stopped. And it cuts to Sora. Just like sitting in her window reading this letter from Ty. So let me go ahead and read this exactly as written. I have it on my phone here. And what I really want to highlight is what happens while she's reading this. So in the back, you could see the nuclear missile falling from the sky behind her. And she reads it out loud. I'm sorry about what happened. This is from Sora. This is to Ty this is from Ty to Sora. Holy shit. I'm sorry about what happened. I haven't felt this bad since the time I accidentally threw up in your hat. I didn't tell you about it before you put it back on. I know our
Oof.
relationship has been a little stormy lately, but you say you like thunder showers. So what's a few raindrops between friends? Love, Ty. So then what happens is the
kinda cute.
nuke slams into the river right next to Sora's house, and it blasts the water up so high that it makes it start raining outside.
Oh my god.
Because
Okay,
of,
wait.
because of
This
this thing
is like,
Ty
wow,
just said
she's
in this
reading
letter.
it, yeah.
What did the nuke dud?
Yes.
Is that what they were trying to do? Is they were trying to dud the nuke? I didn't know that
I think
was the point.
the plan. Also, the other nuke, they don't even say what happened to it. They just address this nuke. I don't know what happened to the other nuke. But then there's this part where, so in the middle of that last sequence, Izzy went to the restroom again. And also there's another part I forgot to mention where before Izzy says all that stuff about how he's like, I'm hacking into the server mainframe, his mom's like, would you like any like grilled onions? And Izzy's like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm doing the server mainframe thing. But yeah, at this point, there was a point slightly earlier where Izzy and Ty are discussing what happened with him and Sora. So let me run this by y'all. So Sora, Ty likes Sora pretty clearly. So he's like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give her a gift, which is gonna segue into why she looks like this, a little older. God, she's scary.
Bro, she
Yeah,
does.
she
Yeah,
looks
that
like,
is a horrifying
She kind of looks
picture.
like a character from like fucking Arnold. You know what I mean? Like
A little bit.
but not like her fucking
I
like
can see
nose. It's so fucking weird, dude.
Why
Yeah,
is
she
it
looks
looks like
spooky.
she's well, I guess every one of these characters has that like weird reddish line in the middle of their face, but it just
Yeah.
looks so much worse.
She
on her.
looks very fucking mad.
Yeah, it's strange, man. And so she's like kind of just chilling, and then he comes over and he's like, hey, I got you a hairpin as a gift. And she's like, do you have a problem with how my hair looks? He's like, well, I've never really gotten to see your hair. You're usually wearing the hat. And she's like, you think my hat looks stupid? He's like, no, I just wanted to give you a hairpin. I just want to give you a gift. She's like, fuck you, Ty. And then slams her door and goes into her house.
Wait, is that why they were mad at each other?
That's why she's mad at him. Yeah.
Okay, we gotta talk about this. Okay, whoa.
So that's what he's apologizing for. And they make it seem like the whole movie that Ty did something like really mean to her. And that's what he did. He gave her a gift. And she said, do you not like how my hair looks? And he's like, well, I don't know. I don't really see your hair often. I just want to give you a gift. She's like, something wrong with my hat? Something wrong with my hat, Ty? And he's like, well, no. And then she just slams the door and leaves.
You know what? That might be justified. She wears a hat, Ty. Come on, like you puked in that hat. That is 4 years of subliminal messaging. He puked in the hat so she would stop wearing it. She fucking cleaned it for some reason. And he's like, well, maybe if I give her a hairpin, she'll stop wearing that fucking hat. Sora knows. Sora knows what Ty's cooking up.
Yeah. So there you go. That's why.
She looks so disgusting.
Yeah, she
with
looks like-
that
yeah,
picture.
she's really mad about Ty, bro. This actually is like a terrible picture in general. There's a lot going on. In this picture.
Yeah, that's such a bad picture. Oh my god.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we have our social media shit to get out of the way here. Content crew at content_crusade is our Insta handle, and at Content Crusade is our Twitter handle. Hopefully, at some point, we can just make those the same. We'll likely get the underscore on both. Probably should have thought of that before we made this, but okay. And then also wanted to throw out there that we have an email contentcrusaders@gmail.com. That's where you can contact us directly. And I guess you can also, if you want to, go to our YouTube comment section, which we are definitely never going to read, which is Content Space Crusaders, both with a capital C. All right. So now that we've covered quite a bit of ground here. By the way, there's literally like no segue almost at all. They're like Ty and Izzy walk out onto the balcony, and then it just says present day. So we're doing another time skip to when they're all older, It's
Okay,
gonna.
I have one question.
Yeah.
So was the point of that, was that like the story of how they were able to get into the Digiverse? Because like I swear, like
No.
I mean I've seen the show, right?
Yeah.
I swear that in the show they were able to just go into the Digiverse.
Well, they just get like transported there, seemingly.
But even in this movie, were they even in the Digiverse? Were they just like
No, they were just in the real
internet?
In a
world.
movie,
They were just,
just
in the internet. Yeah, they just went
Yeah.
into the. So they're
Wait.
digital monsters, so they can just go into anything digital. But the thing that makes no sense, as they literally say,
No one can explain it, but Ty just became digital and went into the computer.
and I'm like, well, yeah, that is hard to explain. How the fuck did Ty fucking do that?
No, I mean, no one could explain it.
I mean, they literally go out of their way to say no one can explain it. So
no
they-
one
they-
could.
they-
I mean, no one could explain how Kari got cut literally in twain, and ended up fine. But I guess the digital thing is pretty interesting too.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, this actually takes place after the show's over. Like this is like kind of a
What?
sequel to the original show, yeah.
The fuck?
And this
Okay.
first part of the movie, the confusing section was kind of like a
An
prequel,
intro?
alternative prequel to the show. Now let's get into a new segment I like to call The Bryce is Right. We're going to ask you 5 questions. If you can answer the questions, then you did it. You win. And when like post, Justin will add the songs, so it's a little more eventful. But that laughing in the background is Justin. So
Yeah, the
That's-
whole time he's been like,
Okay.
he's
So,
a giggly little
all right.
leprechaun.
for your first question, Bryce, name any Digimon I've discussed thus far.
Agumon.
Okay, good. Now we're gonna amp up the difficulty a little bit here. This one will be a little bit harder. Okay, name all human characters I've named in the movie thus far. You get we'll give you 15 seconds.
What? Ty's mom, Ty, Kari, Sora, Joe. Wait, Joe's not there yet. Fucking Izzy, Matt, fucking whatever's TK.
Okay, you failed.
Yeah.
All right. You missed Mimi, Davis, Willis, Yoli, and Cody.
How was I supposed to get that?
Okay, so question number 3.
Wait, okay. Hold up.
What?
Dude, this is a quiz.
So okay, and you know what? Never mind. I respect the L I just took.
So, okay, this one is going to be a little bit easier because you got that one wrong. So here you go. Name the process of a Digimon evolving.
Just Digilution or Digivolving, right?
Yes, correct. Okay, so he's 2 for
Have you
3.
even talked about just the word Digivolve yet?
No, I mean I brought it
Nope.
up a little bit, but I've mentioned it like twice.
This is just like based on my prior knowledge.
Yeah, your prior knowledge worked. It worked out.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
we
Okay,
all
so
have that prior knowledge.
Here, name at least half the songs in the movie.
All-star stuff by that one guy who did a lot of things. That's like half of them. So there you go.
That's not going to count.
All right. Well,
You got like another 10 seconds.
All-star. Oh, dude! Wow, we're the kids of America.
Dude,
Okay, well you got to. We'll
dude, what
give it
about
up.
all my friends are metalheads and Rockefeller
dude.
Skank?
Dude, I'm
How
sorry.
could you forget Rockefeller Skank?
He's 2 for 2, boys. Okay,
Well,
are you ready for your final question?
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Which Digimon did you say for the first question?
Agumon?
Yo, we get it!
Yes, sir.
Let's go. You got 3 out of 5.
Oh man.
So during this segment, if he gets 3 out of 5 right, then he passes the quiz. So Bryce was right.
That
Congratulations.
section should have been called "Can Bryce get 3 questions out of 5 that are only possible ones he could answer?" Basically,
What do you mean?
Come on.
I mean, it was
There's
just
the
it was just
Digi-rap,
coincidental
the
that it was structured
Digimon
like this. Okay.
theme, Rockefeller Skank.
bro. shut up.
Okay, so now that we're done with that extremely hype segment, we can move on to the next part. So here we have
What do I get? What do I get?
Validation. Right now,
I don't feel very validated.
I mean, you got three extremely challenging questions correct.
You knew what Agumon
I
was.
answered the same question twice.
Well, one of them you knew, and I didn't even discuss it. That's pretty impressive.
Bryce, what does Agumon turn into?
Greymon?
Okay, so you know two. You know another question.
But
Yeah.
that's not, but you just made that one up.
You're smart.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. You know what? I feel smart right now. That's never mind. I feel
Yeah, you should. You're analytical
guy.
member.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I do be analyzing some things sometimes.
Okay. Now here we get to the rest of the movie. This shit is insane. Okay, so we cut to. By the way, so we'll talk about this first. Kari and TK. I know they're like they seem like they're maybe 11 or 12 here. They're fucking for sure. I can't confirm this is certainly true, but it is true because they later say it is in another part of the show, and they actually get married and have children together. So they seem like they're fucking even in the early show when they're like 7. So I mean, it very clearly this has been going down for a long time now. So
okay.
They're together in the America. I don't know why. Then there's this part where they're talking to each other and they're like, whoa, what's happening? And then Willis just shows up. So Willis is just there where they are in like New York. And they're like, what are we going to do? And Willis is like, Digimon, Kokomon, who was one of the 2 Digimon he had when he was little and had no friends. He turns into this giant monster and he's following Willis around.
Are you talking about Kokomon?
Yeah. And Kokomon turns this big monster and he's following Willis around and killing anyone who comes near him. So they have to deal with that. And Willis is like unable to do anything about it, despite the fact that he knows like how to get into the Pentagon's information system at the age of 7. And so Gatomon, the cat Digimon, that it's really weird because every time Gatomon speaks in this movie, they just like ignore her. But she says something like, like TK and Kari are like, what should we do for the rest of the day? And Gatomon's like, we could go get lunch. I'm kind of hungry. And they just no sell her. They completely no sell the cat. They just don't even like acknowledge that it said anything at all. And then there's this part where after Willis's Digimon, Kokomon, just goes around and just destroys part of New York. He's like, I'm going to Colorado. And they're like, okay. And then, so they eventually get on the train to go there. But Patamon.
The train?
They get on a train to go there, yes. But Willis just appears there. We'll talk about that. Willis just seems to have gotten there. And I'll tell you what they imply he did to get there in a minute. But TK and Kari take a train there eventually because there's this whole scene with that. But there's a part where he says, I'm going to go to Colorado. And Patamon says, ugh, Colorado? What? Apparently Patamon seems to have like a distinct beef with the state of Colorado, which is weird to me because he lives in Japan. So I don't even know how much he would know about Colorado.
I think it's weird that they were able to get a train ride there. Like,
I mean, what do you mean, bro? They're just riding some trains.
There are also multiple parts they discuss like monetary restraints that would stop them from doing this stuff, and then they just get there anyways.
They're like, yeah, we're like 11, so we can't really do this.
Yeah, so
we're gonna do it anyway.
There's also like another part where they're on the train. There's another part where they're on the train, and there's just like they're just all like sitting there, and Patamon's like, why would he want to go to Colorado? Why is he going to Colorado? They're like, Patamon, what do you have a problem with Colorado? It's extremely weird. And then, so there's a part where they cut to Davis, Yoli, and Cody. Okay, so we got these 3. And they're all like on this beach, just chilling on this like island beach. And they're like, yeah, fun times. And they get a call from TK, and TK's like, hey, I need you to come to the US. and then he is like, they're like, oh, okay. And then he's like, yeah, so come now. And then he like hangs up and they're like, how are we going to get there? We have no money. And then the next scene, they're there. So it cuts to them on it cuts to Kari and TK on a train. Okay. And there's this part where Kari gets stuck on top of a seat and she's like wiggling around. And it's like very clearly like a blatant fan service scene. And then they have a part where TK and Kari are like in the train and then the train like stops moving really fast and the outside the train turns purple and Kokomon's like, and he's like outside the train just like moving around and flailing. And they cut back to them and they're just in the US, like in the middle of nowhere in the US. And they're on this like bike thing with this guy. They get off and they're like, what are we going to do? We need to find some form of transportation. I'll explain why that doesn't make any sense in a minute. But they're talking about how they have no form of transportation. What are we going to do? Or how are we going to get there? And so they flag down a car and he yells, stop. And then this truck just stops. It's not even like hitchhiking. He just literally yells, stop. The truck comes to a full stop and he's like, oh, thanks for stopping. I really appreciate that. I've been working on a car stop business.
What?
There, he makes like some joke where he's like, I've been working on like a truck stop business because he got
This
the truck
kid?
to stop by yelling stop.
That's a good business.
This happens right after, by the way, they walk past a giant billboard in the middle of the desert that just is an ad for like an American car. And then like when they get on, that Willis is also stowed away on the car, like in the truck. The same truck.
It's like a truck with like a closed back, like not like
Yeah.
an 18-wheeler,
This
but
guy's-
like a big ass U-Haul truck or something.
Yeah.
This
And
guy's
so-
been working on his kidnapping business.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And so he has all these kids in the back, and none of them they no sell the fact that the others have Digimon for like a whole conversation, and then randomly Davis just goes, "Whoa, this truck has Digimon by the truckload," and I'm like, the Digimon was there that whole conversation. Like, why are you just bringing it up now?
I have another question. Do they speak English?
Yeah, Digimon do.
Well, I meant like
Well, all the characters do for the sake
okay.
of this, I guess. Yeah, they all
Okay,
speak each other's language. And there's this whole part where they get out of the truck and they're all talking to each other, and Willis is like, yeah, I saw this like hot chick in New York. He's referring to Kari, by the way. He's like, yeah, and also your friend Yo Lee's kind of fine too. Like he says it's to her, like to her face. And then they are like, well, we're stranded. Oh my, because for some reason they decided to get out of the truck, even though they didn't have to. And now there's this part where Terriermon, his like Digimon, is telling a joke to the Digimon that all of them have, like the Yoli, Cody, and Davis's Digimon. And here's the joke the movie implies he's saying. This is like a pretty famous joke. And this is the only joke I could find that ends the way he says. So here it goes. So this lady walks into a bar carrying a duck under her arm. A drunk at the bar looks up and says, "That's the ugliest pig I ever saw." The lady says, "You stupid drunk. That's not a pig. That's a duck." And this is the part that Terriermon says in the movie. And the duck says, and the drunk says, "I was talking to the duck."
Damn. That's pretty savage.
And then all the Digimon just start laughing. And I'm like, what? they get the concept of that joke. Like, I can't believe they understand that joke at all. And then Willis comes up with this great idea on how he can get them to where they need to go. So he says, I'm going to order a pizza with a large pizza with mushroom, sausage, pepperoni, pineapple, ham, anchovies, and green peppers. And then we'll ask the delivery driver to pick us up on the way to where he's delivering it so that we can pay him when we get to that place. And the delivery driver hears that
Okay.
and he agrees to it.
What?
So he shows up to pick them up and bring them to where he's going to get his payment for the pizza at.
And Davis is like, man, I'm so excited to eat this pizza. And then they get in the back of the truck. Yoli and Cody do, but not Davis and Willis. And the driver just drives off without them. And then Yoli and Cody are like, haha, we'll tell you how the pizza tastes later.
Man, I wouldn't want that fucking pizza for shit.
And then Davis is like, oh man, not the pizza. And then, and by the way, there's a part where they said it's 2 minutes or it's free about the pizza. And they literally turn around and the guy's already there.
Oh my God.
And then there's a part after like the driver drives off without them. And then Davis just yells, you're not getting a tip. You know, they didn't pay for the pizza.
Okay.
They didn't even pay for the pizza at all.
Let me, Nolan, I think you need to give us some insight. You have a lot of insight into what it's like being a pizza driver.
Yeah.
How would this situation?
Well, I mean,
play
I'd get
out?
fired if I drove kids somewhere. I mean, I'll be clear on that. But we also, we wouldn't agree to this because I would never answer the phone and do this in the first place. And more importantly, if they didn't pay for it, we're not going anywhere. Like, I'm not going to wait for them to pay me when we get to the place because they literally stress throughout the movie that they don't have any money. That's why they're hitchhiking across the U.S. and evidently across the Pacific Ocean. I don't know how else they could have gotten there.
Okay. And okay, say you did do this and you were
Okay.
like, shit, I am going to get fired now, right?
Yeah.
How would you feel if you were able to make it in 2 minutes and then they looked at you and said, you're not getting a tip. You're not even getting paid. How'd that make you feel?
Jesus. I'd be upset. I'd be really upset. Okay. So then Davis is like, well, I got a perfect idea, bro. And he's like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, okay, so what we could do is we could just, by the way, as soon as the truck or the car with them, like the two that leave with the pizza leaves, Kokomon shows up in like a frame and he just starts attacking them. And he has all the same attacks, cable launcher or like spider shooter, all that shit. And then it's literally the same voice actor too. And then there's this part where Terriermont evolves and he turns into this dude with 2 Gatling gun arms. And Willis goes, whoa, he's got pants now.
It's the giant bunny man, and he's got pants. He like evolved to have giant
Pants.
guns, but also pants.
Yeah, he has pants now and like a little like helmet looking thing. And then these like
I
giant
remember
Gatling gun
this.
arms. And so, but I just think it's crazy that Willis looks at all that. And he's like, what? Pants. And then they get to the people somehow. I don't know how they figured out where they were, but how they get there is Davis is like, hey, I have the perfect idea. Yeah, my Digimon can literally turn into a giant like rideable monster that's incredibly fast. And I'm like, where was that before you called the pizza guy? What was the point of that? It really doesn't make any sense. They could have just gotten on his Digimon beforehand. But no, they had to wait for all that to happen. And then they just did that anyways. So they get there and Yoli's.
Wait. So like, what happened with Kokomon? You said like he starts attacking them, and then Terriermon just gets pants, and then you stopped with that.
So, not really. They kind of just fuck around for a little bit, and then Kokomon's like, go back to the beginning. He just keeps.
Oh my god!
Sorry. But then at this point, there's a lot of stupid shit that happens soon. Yoli, when they get there to this like forest looking area they're in, is like, I knew we shouldn't have split up. And I'm like, that's not what it sounded like when you said, haha, I'll tell you how the pizza tastes. When you could have just told the driver, hey, can you stop so we can go back and get them? But instead, she's like, but now she's like, oh man, we should have split up. Why'd we do that? And then Willis admits that he created Kokomon. Apparently, what happened is that Diaboromon thing was his Digimon that contracted a virus that spread to his Kokomon, which is another Digimon he created because he was so lonely and wanted more friends. And then Kokomon like went ape shit because he had a virus in his coding because he's digital. And that's why he's trying to kill everyone that comes into contact with him.
I mean, that's what happens when I had no friends in my life, is I decided I'd make my own life.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, and then there's this part where Davis collapses onto his knees and his glasses fall off and he just bursts into tears. And Willis is like, "What's wrong, Davis?" And he's like, "It's just the saddest thing I've literally ever heard before." And Willis is like, it's not really a big deal, dog. And then
wait, so Davis had 3 Digimon.
No, Willis had 3.
Wait,
now he's got
Davis.
2.
No, Willis.
One of them's going
Willis,
rogue. Yeah.
Willis had 3.
3.
One of them turned into a virus.
Was the nuke monster.
And then the fucking nuke monster.
The virus spread from him to Kokomon.
Yeah.
I think that's what they said. And then Davis is like breaking into tears. And then Willis is like, "Oh, it's okay, man. It's not a big deal." And he's like, yeah, I know. I faked it. So he had been faking the tears, even though he was like breaking down in tears, like very clearly.
Yeah, he's crying. He goes, "That's the saddest story I've ever heard."
Yeah, exactly like that. And then he like just gets up and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, "Well, he's faking." And then the Terriermon walks into the area and he says, "I don't mean to eavesdrop, but I've got really big ears." And it's like kind of a intimidating. It's like a fairly intimidating scene, honestly, because he has like this like cloak over his ears, like this brown bag that looks like a cloak over his head, and he's like just walks in and says that with like no warning.
But that's Terriermon with pants, right? Or like the smaller.
Yeah, is that
the smaller one? The smaller one.
Oh, damn! I was really. Because that would be very intimidating to see that come in with Gatling guns for hands.
You know what they say about Digimon with big ears, big pants.
And so then they have this whole scene where
can I paint a picture right now, Nolan? Sure. Okay, so we're all in different rooms in the same home, right? And our quote unquote producer, Justin, is in the same room I'm in, right? And he is rolling on the floor. It's not normal to actually see people rolling on the floor laughing. This man is literally laying on the ground, like laughing his ass off.
He's really raffling, man. He's doing it.
Yeah,
he's
for
finally
real.
doing it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah. You can hear that. I'm just watching it spike on the Audacity.
So then there's this part where they all like Kokomon shows up. He starts just like attacking them. They all digivolve into Digimon. That's
wait, is that the evolved form of Armadillomon?
Yes. And then Hawkmon turns into I think a Quailamon.
Okay.
And then Vmon turns into Flamedramon. And they all have this like one-liner they do.
Nice.
And so Flamedramon says, "Do you like your Kokomon charred or flame broiled?" And then a Quailamon says, I'm supposed to be on vacation, so let's make this quick. And then they cut to Digimon. He looks at this angle and he just says, looks straight at Kokomon, and he just like squints his eyes and goes, "Howdy."
Oh, holy fuck.
Right, that's just bursting your confidence right there, dude.
And then they like are like, "Wow, look, our Digimon are all having fun." And then Cody says, "I wish mine was a little more animated." Because he just stands still and says, "Howdy." And I guess Cody's not a fan of that. And then they all attack him, and they're so weak that Kokomon just forces them to digivolve, and then starts juggling them. And then there's this part where like,
wait, they like undigivolve, right?
Yeah, and then
so they revert back to their first state, and then they
so
yeah, and he's juggling their bodies, and then they're like, there's this whole part where he's like, Kokomon, stop, and Davis is like, what's wrong? You the one who taught him how to juggle? And then Cody Willis is like, no, this isn't the time for that, and he's right, because then Kokomon slams them into the side of a cliff, and then they're like, oh no, our Digimon, and their Digimon like all like climb up the cliff, like Armadillomon like digs through the cliff, Hawkmon flies up, and Beamon like is somehow grabbing onto the edge of the cliff, and Davis comes over and helps him. And then whenever they get back, they all have another one-liner, but they weren't that good except for Armadillomon, who says, I've been digging all over for you. And then,
God damn it.
and so now that their plans to win have been derailed, the whole area turns really dark and they can't see anything. And about here, TK and Kari show up, and their Digimon turn into this giant angel with 8 wings and this like celestial armor. And then Gatomon, the cat thing, turns into a humongous dragon, like cat dragon, who like circles around TK's Digimon, and they do this humongous like heaven laser attack, and it doesn't do anything at all. And Kokomon, by the way, his Digivolves like 2 different times in this scene and starts just beating their ass. And they're like, oh no! And it's like all dark outside, and for some reason, Cody randomly just says, I'm not supposed to be out in the dark. And then they're all like, Cody. And then they get sent. So for some reason, this Digimon can revert time. So he's sending them back in time. And Willis is like, oh, I get it. I'm not supposed to return to where it happened. I'm supposed to return to the time it happened. And I'm like, how are you literally supposed to do that unless Kokomon sends you back in time? This dude was just killing people because he wouldn't do it, I guess. But whatever. Then there's this whole part where this golden armor appears out of nowhere. And then Willis is like, what do I do with this? And Davis is like, just do exactly what I do. And then they do this thing where they infuse the golden armor onto their Digimon, and they turn into these humongous, like, golden armored warriors. And one of them literally says, let me find it. Isn't that the coolest thing you've ever seen, or what?
That's what's his name's Mon, Davis's Digimon, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's Davis and Willis's Digimon that turn into these giant things, and they're like Golden Victorymon or something like that. And then it's really stupid because Willis's has the gun arm still, and he has this attack called something rapid fire, but it's not rapid fire. It's one missile.
Dude, I remember one attack. He like shoots his gun or something, or no, he shoots like a fucking like blast.
It's a missile with like a face.
Okay, well, I'm thinking of like a different one. Oh, I do know what that is, but like there's one attack where he shoots like a fucking beam from his mouth. He goes, Buddy Blast!
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah, so
my God.
Terriermon literally has
How can you speak when you're shooting a blast out your mouth?
Yeah, I don't know. So he has this attack. There's a part in the movie where he does that, where he like jumps up and he goes Bunny Blast and shoots like the little like green blast from his mouth, and then Kokomon just like slaps him and he goes like and he just like falls down. But
no.
Also, like in this scene, like he has like it pissed us off because he did it so many times, but he literally has an attack called Rapid Fire, and he pulls out the guns and it's just missiles with rabbit uwu faces on them, and he fires them out and they don't do anything. Like it's just one missile. It's not rapid fire at all. That's incredibly incorrect. And then after that's done, they just beat him. I mean, it's not really even clear how they did it, but it kind of happens because he's like, no, well, Kokomon, we can help you. And then they're like, I know what we can do. We can go inside of him. And then they're like, so the 2 golden Digimon are like, yeah, we can go into his mouth and hurt him from there. And even though they said, okay, let's go inside, then the Digimon just eats them for them. Like they don't even have to like get into his mouth. He just comes over and eats them. And then after that, they go in and they manage to make it so Kokomon forgives Willis, and he turns into this giant angelic monster. And he just goes, Willis, and then dies instantly. Like I'm talking right after he just dies immediately.
Oh my god.
And then Willis is like, and then they're like, yeah, Digimon don't actually die though. Like they can't.
Yeah.
And he's like,
but like,
oh, okay.
they're all like, they all fucking like got reverted to children in this scene too.
Yeah. So they're not kids anymore. By the way,
What?
they grow back because like when I said they were going back in time, he was literally turning them into kids again. And so they're all like grow back up, and then they're like, yeah, Digimon like literally can't die though, so you're fine. He's like, oh, okay, that's cool. And
I
then
mean, can't they though? Like, what if I put my Digimon on like a CD and then I format the CD?
you know, I don't think they get into that, Chris, but you can maybe ask for trade or
Actual
something.
murder.
just like fucking like.
Don't worry, Agumon, you're going to a better place.
Okay. But yeah, then they cut to this part where they're on a bridge and Willis is like, yeah, see you later. And then he runs over and kisses Kari and Yoli on the cheek. And they're like, ooh. And then TK's standing right there. I'm like, Kari, what are you doing? And this, in my opinion, this is a lot of inferring, but I'm assuming that this probably leads to a divorce somewhere in their late 30s. I can't confirm or deny that, but that's what I believe will probably happen. It happens all the time, you know.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So that's my rough guess as to what happened here. But now let me explain to you.
I feel like you left out the part at the end where it says culminating into a domestic violence case. Then a divorce.
Okay. That's fair. But that's how I think the divorce would happen. That's just a little flavor.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of flavor text. Okay, so
imagine being in TK's situation, right, Bryce?
I mean, this is like his girlfriend since he was 7, and this dude comes over and kisses his girl, bro.
Well, I wasn't thinking just that, but like, imagine the power trip of
they're
having these Digimon, right?
Yeah.
Like, I assume at one point he's gonna get physical because he's just like, I don't have that power of the Digimon anymore.
I mean, but they keep their Digimon their whole life.
Oh, okay. They're the
TK and Kari's kids literally have the same Digimon they do.
One thing I want to say is that like you were like, I've been dating this girl since I was like 7, and I know like it's still a long time, but they're literally like 11 though, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, if you were an adult, 4 years is a long time.
How far of a span is this movie? Because there was a 4-year gap.
Okay,
and
okay.
Present
I think the
gap.
jump was like another almost 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
So they were like
at the start
16,
of this movie,
17?
Kari was like a child.
Okay. You're right. Okay, I don't think they're that old, but like they're probably like 15. Maybe.
Probably 15.
Yeah, something like that.
Kari and TK do look a little older. Like here they look like they could be like 12, 13 or something.
God, TK also looks he looks like a fucking chicken.
Dude, he looks extreme. Like his face is so blurry.
Like he looks huge. Like he just got hatched out of the egg and he's going.
What? My dude's chirping.
Okay. So there's one more scene I need to describe to you guys. So the way this movie ends, everyone goes back home. They're like, yeah, let's go home. And then like TK is kind of like holding Kari's wrist aggressively. And he's like, let's leave. And then they all leave. And then, they cut to Willis just standing there, and Kokomon in his like final form just starts like, not even dancing. He's kind of just like shifting side to side, and All Star comes on. And the first 20 seconds of the song plays with him dancing, and then they just cut it off.
What?
And then they start this like extremely edited version of Kids in America, and then the credits start playing.
What the fuck?
Yeah. He dances to the song and he dances into All Star and goes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's how the movie ends, with the All Star for 15, 20 seconds into the really nasty edit of
We kids in America.
Yeah.
And then here we go. Okay, we got our final segment. This is the thing we alluded to at the beginning, and by that I mean we literally said it was going to happen. Where Kris
Mhm.
is going to review the show. Sorry, I had to swallow. So here we go. We have Rotten Christophers.
No, this is Rotten
okay.
Christopher S. This is what this is.
Yeah. That was Ryan Christopher.
This is a
right?
pretty like lame segment name idea we had. So here we go. We're gonna go with it. Kris, the floor is yours, brother. You can do whatever you want with this part. Honestly, I don't give a fuck.
Okay, so
I'm trying to go back to sleep, bro. So hurry up.
so we started this movie and I was feeling nostalgic, and then I've never seen this movie actually, but I did see the show. And then the further we got into it, the more I was like, wow, maybe I don't feel nostalgic.
Whoa,
I'm giving
whoa.
this movie a I'm gonna give this movie like probably a 4 out of 10. From the way you described it, I will say we saw images and it looked a lot better than I imagined in my head. Maybe because I was imagining the characters in the image.
That'll do it.
And those characters are gross looking. The art style looked kind of cool.
Yeah, it's an okay looking movie. In HD, it actually looks incredible for the time. But that's about the best thing about the movie that we could list.
Yeah. It seemed very like I don't understand what the correlation between like actual
Rotten
Digimon
Christ
is.
opers.
Like I don't get that.
I like that. Let's get-
Yeah, Rotten Christ offers. Indeed.
But yeah, so the whole thing
yeah.
is like they had to like just jam in random shit to make the 3 parts related because they weren't related. They're just 3 different short movies. So
Yeah, and I feel like that could have been cool, like if it was just short movies. Like I wouldn't have been upset. Also, like, why couldn't they have just made a movie?
It is a movie, bro.
I mean, it is a movie.
Yeah, okay. Why couldn't they have just made
let me just make sure you caught
movie.
this right here. The movie. It is in fact the movie.
Yeah. It is Digital Monsters Digimon. The movie. Also, you said earlier, by the way, you said like she starts singing the Digimon theme. Do you mean she like whistles dit 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 dit?
No, she's like,
Okay, so like what I mean by that is this. And she doesn't sing it, she whistles it.
Well, it's a call and response, Nolan. That's a very common musical technique used in a lot of music like gospel.
That's
fair, Kris. That's fair.
I think you can liken that song. Digimon, digital monsters. That's about the speed they were going there, by the way.
Well, all right. Is your final evaluation a 4 out of 10?
I think because of the looks, I'm gonna give it a 5.
All right. And for the record, whenever we do this same in the future, hopefully we'll have the sound issue figured out with the soundboard, and then we can play like the weird, pretentious classical music before Kris does this part. So, all right. Is that it? Are we stopping?
I guess so.
All right. So, I don't know how I do this. So I just stop recording.
Hit the white square on your Audacity is what you're gonna want to click.
I mean, I wasn't recording on Audacity at all.
Oh, wait, you weren't?
No, you didn't tell me to. You told me to just hit record on the OBS thing, and that's it.
Well, shit.
Well, Craig was recording.
Yeah, Craig was recording, I guess.
Yeah, you're gonna have to use that then.
Fuck.
You didn't tell me to do anything with Audacity at all. You just did the test and you're like, okay, you're good. And then just make sure you hit recording on the OBS.